Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever or whoever you may be. I am Alan Arante, and this is the Recluse podcast. I had the pleasure of talking to 3 women from the newly formed skate group called Girls on Board. They are a Ventura-based skate group. They meet regularly at local skate parks and other predetermined locations. They go camping. They have vegetarian potlucks. They skate. They are champions for girls everywhere. I talked to Alison, Kaitlyn, and Mel in my living room. We had never met before, and it was a good experience. I think it takes boldness to sit in a room with someone that you don't know and then talk at length. In this interview, each person tells a little bit about their experiences and circumstances of life that have made an impact. We pulled questions and comments from a bowl to be read aloud. We talk about the success of the recent Westpark Fundraiser. It earned $10,000. And we talk about the skate community and why a group like this is beneficial to girls and women. I would also like to comment on something I was confused about during the interview. I believe it was Kaitlyn was talking about a pro skater that was at the fundraiser whose name is Mike Anderson. The only Anderson I had ever known about was Brian Anderson, who in recent years came out as gay. So my apologies to Mike and Brian Anderson. They are both great and distinct skateboarders. What else can I say that isn't already communicated in this interview? I thoroughly enjoyed the time we spent talking together. I wish them all the best in their objectives, their wanting to empower girls and women through skateboarding. I support it. Count me in. And once again, thank you to Alison, Kaitlyn, and Mel for being so open and thoughtful. This is a portrait of Girls on Board. All right, we are officially on the record. It is Tuesday, January 14th, 6:30 p.m. I have a very special group in front of me, and I think it'd be interesting to learn about each person individually first. So actually first, Alison, what's the name of your group here that you are representing?
We are called Girls on Board.
Girls on Board, and it's a Ventura-based group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Alison, if you don't mind me asking, and the same goes for you, 3 people. So what year were you born?
1982.
82. What's your full name? Alison?
Alison Sowens.
Sowens, and that's your husband's last name?
It is, yeah.
When did you get married?
2018.
Wait, when?
2018.
Oh, you were freshly married too?
Or not 18.
I was going to say 8.
Oh.
Yeah? 2008?
Oh, 2008?
See, I'm nervous already.
No, you're doing great. I was like, wow, we've been married around the same time. So you've been married for about 10 years?
Yeah.
What is that like? Can you reflect on what it feels like and what it means to be married for 10 years, in your case at least?
I mean, it feels very secure. Like, we know that our relationship is strong and that we're together and it's just the way it is. And we're really happy. Mm-hmm. And I love that we did get married after knowing each other for 3 years. And
oh, wow.
We were just like, I was kind of antsy.
After knowing each other for 3 years.
I was like antsy. I was like,
You wanted it sooner?
Let's do this. Let's lock it in. Because you don't want anyone going in there and,
Where did you meet him?
We met in Florida.
In Florida?
I was living there at the time, and he was visiting for a wedding. And we just met at a random bar.
No kidding. Lucky
night.
you.
Yeah, but it wasn't at a wedding that we met. It was just some random bar.
Just by happenstance?
Yeah. I was out with my friend, and I wasn't even going to go out that night. And then there he was.
Yeah, fate struck.
Yeah.
So you're in love?
Mm-hmm.
What does that feel like for people? I think I am too, but I think maybe there are people out there who don't know what that means.
Just knowing that we totally trust each other and we could say anything openly. We're not hiding anything. Like you just want to put everything on the table. Anything you want to say, you just go for it, and you're not afraid of what their reaction will be. And, just having that open line of communication and loving and trusting.
Does that come with time, or is that something that just sort of clicked?
I think it comes with time for sure. Like just getting to know the person, and, learning their background and their friends and like, knowing what they've been through and just kind of making your judgment there, I guess.
Yeah. I like what you said, where love is sort of putting everything on the table. There's this movie called The Count of Monte Cristo. Have you guys heard of the book or heard of the movie?
Leonardo DiCaprio?
No, that's an old movie, right?
I think there are a couple of versions. There's a couple of versions. One, I think I'm talking about the newer version, because there's a black and white version, I think. But in the new version, there's this line that was really beautiful. And I think I was young when I heard it too, but it was so like profound. I forget what the story is exactly about, but basically it's like a love story with this man and a woman. And they hadn't seen each other. I think he was exiled or in prison for like 20 years or something. And she says, "Can I ask you something?" And he says, "Anything." He says, "Anything," meaning I will answer anything you ask me. How many men or people, it's not just men, but how many people are that open, that are willing to be honest 100%? And I that really touched me. So I'm kind of happy to hear you say that you can lay stuff out and not have to beat around the bush. So Alison, thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, we're excited.
And Kaitlyn, you are next to Alison.
Yes, hi.
What year were you born?
1985.
1985. What's one of your earliest memories that you're willing to say? I mean, I don't know.
Probably one of the arguments right before my parents split up when I was 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
When you were 4?
Yeah.
Were you scared?
Yeah. I was mostly comforting my sister, who was younger than me.
How old was your sister?
Well, I think actually I was 5 and she was 3.
You said you were scared. What were you scared of?
The loudness of it.
Like, did you think something like bad was going to happen, or just as it was just too much for you? Even just being in an argument? Because sometimes people are afraid of like I can sort of relate. Some people are afraid of violence, and then some people are just afraid of mom and dad are like yelling at each other, and that scares me.
It wasn't anything violent. It was just, I don't know, I probably should have been used to it by then, to be honest. But yeah, I think more so the feeling, like fear, but also feeling the need to like tell my sister it's going to be okay. Or like hiding under a table or something. Really? Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy. You were sort of made mature at 4. All of a sudden you're having to comfort your younger sister, and you're both just babies.
Yeah.
Not understanding probably. Has that influenced you? Your parents are divorced. Mm-hmm. How does that affect you, and how did that affect you growing up?
I'm in therapy.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am. No, I feel like I am processing through a lot of it in the last few years through therapy. Mm-hmm. And I'm also taking like child development classes and stuff. And the more I learn about like adverse childhood experiences and how they affect your life forever, physically, emotionally, everything, I realize like how deep it has affected me. Really? And I probably don't even realize the depth of it.
Really?
So yeah, I think that it definitely has impacted.
And you're married now, right? Mm-hmm. When did you get married?
Almost 11 years ago.
How long did you know him before?
A year and a half, I think.
Wow. He popped the question, or you popped the question a year in?
I had already had a child.
Oh, okay.
With somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Did you marry that person or
no? Was never with him. But he is in my son's life. Mm-hmm. We just were never really together. Mm. And so I think that kind of sped things up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were just sort of ready?
Well, he's 7 years older than me. So I think that he felt, I don't know, ready.
Well, it seems like it worked out. I mean, you're 11 years strong. Do you have children with that person?
One child, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
We do regret, we don't regret it, but we do say now, we look back and we're like, we should never have gotten married when we did.
Why? What?
We just didn't know each other.
Oh, it could have been a mistake?
Yeah, we had to really work through a lot of shit, like in the first 5 years, I would say. Yeah.
So your experience with your own parents, did that influence your perspectives on marriage? So you get married with this person. Are you sort of trying not to make the same mistakes, so to speak, as your parents, and you're worrying about how to go about it, or was it just free flow for you, this marriage?
I don't really remember much of my parents being together, but I do have a
so young,
stepdad and they got married when I was about 10. And so I saw their relationship. But they were very separate we were a family, and I love my stepdad, but it wasn't like, he wasn't really a father.
Right.
To me, he was my mom's husband. So I never really actually got to see what marriage really looks like, at least having a family through that.
I had that experience too, sort of. I had a stepfather. He was cool for a while, but I just never, ever saw him as my dad, ever. Not 1 minute, because I was afraid. I think I had, maybe some abandonment stuff. My dad, he wasn't in my life until, recently. So I thought, if I, even act like this guy's my dad, why I don't want to put myself out. I'm a kid thinking this. I don't want to commit to this man as my father because, I don't know, I've been burned before. I don't know that I verbalized it that way, but in my head, I was didn't want to even dip my toe in the water of that commitment in my head. So yeah, I think I maybe understand a little bit of that. And I'm sure I need therapy. I haven't had therapy, but I'm totally pro therapy. I think every person, what we're doing now, in my opinion, is therapy to me. I like that people can open up. I've seen people open up, and it's great. It's wow, they were honest. You guys are being very honest. So I'm pro therapy. I thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, sure.
Kaitlyn. And Mel, as in Melissa?
Yeah, I just go by Mel, though.
Mel? And what year were you born?
1992.
1992. What was the first band you liked that, you loved the whole album, you bought it? Don't be embarrassed. Is there a band?
Yeah, there definitely is. It was probably that pop punk band, Newfound Glory.
Okay.
Yes. That's not too bad.
And also
That's
Avril
not too
Lavigne.
bad.
I was also really into Avril Lavigne.
Did you wear ties to school or anything? Or?
I didn't dress like her, but I did buy all of her CDs and knew all the words to her songs and yeah, all that great stuff.
Well, that is pretty good because the first band I ever got into was NSYNC. And I loved them for 10 years. I could still rock an NSYNC record. I don't even care. I think we got an album over there. I'd still rock the first NSYNC album. So Newfound Glory is not so bad. So did you graduated high school?
Yes.
Did you do any college at all?
I went to SF State. I went to community college first though,
and
I transferred up there.
What community college?
I was at Ventura College. I actually did my first semester at SBCC, but I didn't want to transfer to UCSB. I found out and then just kind of stayed around Ventura until I left.
How long were you taking classes around here, I should say?
I guess about 3 semesters. And then, I moved up north and, I was supposed to go to USF and then that didn't work out. So then I came back here. I kind of did a lot of moving and then I did 1 more semester. So I guess 4 semesters total, but they were all over the place.
And you say moving, was that with your family? It was your own choice?
I think so. My family has moved around a lot growing up. And then I just joke now that it's kind of my curse because even as a young adult, I just have to, I just had to apply for a DOD clearance for my new job, and I had to list every place I've lived within the last 10 years.
Oh no, is that a
and there were
places?
At least 17 entries or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
And so but I don't want to move as much anymore, so that's the moral of the story, I guess.
Well, why was your family moving? A military family or something?
We weren't even military. I think it was just my parents are divorced as well. And they divorced when I was very, very young.
You don't even remember?
I don't even remember. But one of my first memories is my dad and I driving to California in his little VW van. From Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was born in Texas. We moved to Colorado, came to California. And yeah, and then he remarried by the time I was 6. And so then I had 2 sisters.
From the new
So
marriage.
a stepsister and then a half sister.
Mm-hmm.
That came along a year later. And yeah, we just kind of moved around a lot. We didn't really have a lot of money, I guess. And then, yeah, and we finally kind of like settled our roots like 5 years ago, I guess. My parents have, which is great, but I haven't experienced that yet. So,
And what was your father doing for work at that time when you were younger and you moved from,
he was going to Denver Technical College for a while. And then once we came out to California, he became an ultrasound tech.
Wow.
So he worked in the medical industry for a long time. He would work at clinics and hospitals. And then he eventually worked for a couple corporations that actually made, these ultrasound machines.
Mm-hmm.
And then now he's finally doing what he wants to do, which is IT. So he went back to school. He actually went to the adult education school and got his certificate.
And I hope these topics that I'm asking you guys about aren't so painful or anything, but what about your mother? You said you moved with your dad and you're on the road. What is she doing in those years?
Yeah, my parents divorced. I think it was all finalized by the time I was 3. But my dad got full custody of me. And it's mainly just because my mother is kind of, I don't know how to put it, but she just wasn't like a fit mother, I guess. She like was kind of like abusive and stuff like that, even when I was a baby. So, yeah, so I was kind of turned over to my father. And I was lucky because my dad is, a solid dad. So
sounds like it.
Yeah.
When was the last time you've seen either your parents like at all?
Together?
Or no, not separate. Even.
Oh, well, my dad, I see him on a regular basis. Like we're really close.
Is he here in town?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He and my stepmom live in Satakoy.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. And they're probably going to be in Ventura County forever. That's just who they are. But yeah, my mom, I haven't seen her since I, was probably 3 years old.
Really?
Yeah. I've talked to her, and exchanged letters with her when I was a lot younger. And then the last time I talked to her was a little bit over 2 years ago, but it did not go well. No, it was all through email, actually.
Oh, and it didn't go well. You're talking to her even through just typing, and it's not.
Yeah, because it was my aunt who reached out to me, and
her sister.
Yeah. So, and she was just kind of, everyone on my mom's side of the family wants me to hate my dad, which doesn't make sense. So she kind of came at me like that, and then kind of got my mom involved, and then they're, saying all these nasty things to me, even just through email. And I'm like, you don't even know me, really. Right. Like, if we're being honest here, and you can come out here and see me, but, you choose not to do that. Like, I'm not hiding.
They're like trying to tell you to do stuff, pretty much.
They're not telling me to do anything. They're just trying to rehash things that happened between my mom and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they had a really bad relationship, which I'm glad I don't remember any of that. I just have heard stories and it just sounds awful. But yeah, that's the thing. They want to rehash all that. And it's like, it's kind of irrelevant at this point. Like everyone's moved on.
It's like 20 years later.
Yeah. And and plus I would just rather have a relationship, I don't know, with my mom rather than having to choose, I guess. So.
Yeah, it's rough. I won't get into it. I think my mom would probably get really pissed off if I talked about it. But I was all, you're telling me how you haven't seen your mom in a long time, but I kind of lived the same thing. So I don't know why I'm all shocked. I know what that's like too. But sort of like what you were saying, Kaitlyn, sometimes you don't know how deep these lessons, let's call them, these traumas, these experiences are. If you imagine cutting one of these things out and how different you would be, it's it's interesting how these trajectories are in our life. Okay, So now that we bummed everybody out.
Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know.
So actually, Alison, are your parents married?
They are divorced, yeah.
When did they get divorced?
They were divorced when I was probably 3 as well.
No kidding. Who are we?
Yeah.
All of our parents divorced at like 3 or 4 or 5.
It's the way it is these days.
Baby
Wow.
boomers.
Yeah, we lived in New York. We were all, I don't know if you want to hear the whole thing.
Please, tell us.
We're all from New York originally. And they split up, and my grandparents moved down to Florida, which people do when they retire.
Yeah.
They move from New York to Florida because it's better on the joints and arthritis and all that stuff.
I think that's anywhere on the East Coast.
Yeah. And so my mom followed her parents, my grandparents down there. And we left, and my dad was still in New York, and he got remarried. He stayed in touch the whole time, and then he moved his wife down to Florida as well.
Really? What, to be closer to you, maybe?
Yeah, to be near us. He did everything to be near us. And
you say us as in, did you have
me and my brother?
Okay.
Yeah, my older brother. He's 4 years older. And so yeah, everyone ended up down in Florida.
Yeah, that's my parents not being together. I mean, that really defined me sort of in school all these years. When I was a kid, elementary school, middle school, high school, anytime Father's Day would come around, anytime, like anything related to parents being together or like parents, like it was all not awkward, not like people looked at me in retrospect, but like when I was a kid sitting in the 5th grade or something, and Father's Day comes around, I probably felt very like insecure. I probably dived into myself, not wanting to even bring up the subject. Like if you had to like make a Father's Day card, like I'm not going to see my dad. I don't know my dad. Like I knew him, but he didn't have a contact really, pretty much my whole life. So man, that really, messes people up, I think sometimes. As tough as I think I think I made it out okay. But I really feel like it's, you're kind of psychologically crippled in a way sometimes by things like that. Whereas, you see someone next door, your neighbor, your desk part, someone sit next to you and they have both their parents and seem to have the best life ever. But some people say, I wish my parents did get a divorce. Sometimes kids will live, in a household where it's like, my parents should have been divorced. Like this was like hell. Mm-hmm. I could see as a child, they didn't love each other. And I'm not complaining. Things worked out. Yeah. So anyways, your group, what's the name again?
Girls on Board.
Girls on Board. And who started that? One person?
Me.
You did. What was your motivation for that, Kaitlyn?
Well, it started when my son started skateboarding. Mm-hmm. He was 11 at the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then about a year into his skateboarding is when this all got started. But I would take him to skate parks all the time, and I would just sit there and I'd watch him skate. Yeah. And then we have a friend who's in our group too, Christy, and she would bring her daughters to come skate with him because they're in a similar age
awesome.
And stuff. Yeah, and she would skate, and I'm like, okay, she skates, and then I started like looking on Instagram at like all these rad women groups, like older women. Yeah,
and where'd you say you were looking at this?
On Instagram. I just discovered
like pages and
this. I don't even know like how it maybe I just started looking at women skateboarding. I don't know. Like I really don't remember. But and then I just kept seeing like women like skate pools and like grind rails and like do amazing things, like women who are my age or older. Yeah. Like not that I didn't care about the like 19-year-old girls, but seeing these like women moms skating and like ruling it, I was just like, I can totally do this and I want to do this. And so last year on Go Skate Day, I told myself I would get on a skateboard. And I did. And ever since then, like, I've just loved it.
And you, so did you know these people before the group, or?
I didn't know Mel. Mel came to one of our meetups.
Oh, cool.
And I met Alison through the school that our children go to.
Okay. So how long have you guys known each other?
Year and a half now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met you when we first Kindergarten started.
Mm-hmm.
Our boys were in kindergarten together.
How long have you known these two people?
Probably since November of last year.
Oh.
So yeah, a couple months. I'm a newbie.
Well, the group is still pretty new, right? I mean,
It is.
how long has it been around?
Probably since
I thought it was August.
August.
Oh,
Okay,
it's super new, like months old.
Yeah, and we actually like once we started kind of talking about creating like a group, it was so long for us. It took forever for us to come up with like a name. I was so angry at myself because I just could not come up with something that was like decent enough. And we would go
read the list.
No, don't.
That would be interesting.
Oh my god.
Or what's like one that you didn't go with?
Skate Maidens.
Skate Maiden. I mean,
That's awesome.
that would have been bitchin' too.
That's kind of like a subgroup of our group.
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. But like, what was the Scott one?
Oh, the sidewalk surfing sirens.
Sidewalk surfing. What? Sirens?
Sirens.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, just right.
It was so hard.
I mean,
That
I
was
do
the
like those, but-
hardest thing was to come up with a name. And
I
eventually I
know.
was just like, screw it. This is what it's going to be. Not sure if I like it, but it's simple. Gets the point across. Alison, make a logo. Like, we were just trying to like run with it at that point. I made the Instagram. That's where we post our events and stuff. And I just really wanted to get it out to the public, but we needed a name.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it seems great. Like I must have. I don't know when I heard about you guys. Maybe a month ago or something. But it seemed like you guys are going at it pretty hard already. I mean, you know, it's not. It's like it seems like a cool group. You participated in the art show, the benefit recently. When was that? That was this month, right?
it was like 2 weekends ago.
Did you all three of you go?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Kaitlyn, you were there.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I was there.
And what about you, Mel?
I was there. Yeah.
I wanted to be there desperately. I've just like seen all the hype because I know Steve. You guys know who Steve? You guys know Steve Nasker
Oh, yeah.
and
Sorry.
Steve and
Yes.
Charlie. I'm buddies with them. I love his space. I've been to a couple art shows before. I wanted to be there so badly, but I was on set. I say, quote unquote. My buddy rented a studio to do some work, and I just couldn't be there. What was it like? It looked insane. It looked like a
Crazy.
rager.
Yeah, it was super successful.
Like
Like
raised $10,000.
That's a lot of money. I had no idea what the event would raise. I hoped like $1 million, of course. Like I wish it was like $10 million or something.
that was their goal, so they definitely.
What was their goal?
reached it.
Oh, 10,000? Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah.
How did that money get made? I know there was the art was being sold. Just donations also? People were just donating?
There were skateboards that artists painted. There was photography that was also on the walls.
That's right.
There were tickets for the raffle, and there was like tons of donations. Like
Really?
insane amounts of donations. Like,
There
from
was a
different
lot of
companies.
people. I was looking at
Yeah.
the photos and like videos. Like I've been to Steve's a couple times and for like art events, which were successful too. Like I was like, my mind was blown when there was like 30 people there, you know, like I'm like, whoa, dude, this is successful. Like there's like, 10 people here. But that event was so huge. I mean, anybody who was anybody seemed to be there. Like, like I know, like for instance, like Moose, he's like a local, sort of legend kind of guy. Do you know who that is?
No.
I've heard of him.
Okay.
You've heard of him?
Yeah, but
I mean-
I don't remember seeing him though.
Or
But
I
I was
only-
mainly in the
Did he
back.
skate?
He does skate. Yeah,
Oh,
he was
okay.
on. He's still on some big names, some big companies, but he was. I think he's. Frankly, I think he hit his peak a couple years ago, but he got injured, and that really set him back, and I think he's coming back strong. But like he was on on Death Wish, I think, for a little bit, which is a huge name in skateboarding. I think he's still in Mystery, but I saw him post about it. So like
Cool.
anybody who was anybody was trying to be there.
Mike Anderson is a huge.
Mike Anderson was there.
Yeah, he did a ton.
No.
He donated tons of stuff. I think he had photography.
I'm so
there,
pissed.
And
I'm so pissed. Did you get to meet him at all?
actually, I did. A weird
You did?
story is that
He's the I hate to describe him this way, but he's the gay skateboarder, right?
no, I don't think so. No,
Mike Anderson.
he's married.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's another Anderson.
Okay.
Now I'm very
He
embarrassed
has
for
a
that.
brother. I'm not sure.
Okay, or anyways, but you met Mike Anderson. Yeah, I must be confused. There's some who I'll find. There's a great documentary on this guy.
He is pro and he lives in Ventura.
Hmm.
But his dad is my godfather.
Oh, no kidding.
Super random, but yeah. So I got to meet him.
Mike Anderson, Moose, Sweet Reaper played. Is that what that band's called? They seem to be like beloved in Ventura. There's a lot of music out here, but I don't know that there's that many bands out here right now that are just loved by the public. And I think Sweet
There was a lot
Reaper
of
is one
people
of them.
that came for that.
Yeah. So, what do you recall from that night, Mel?
Oh, well,
What were you doing? Were you busy? Were you just hanging out?
Oh my gosh.
I was working at the beer station, so we had to check IDs, give people wristbands.
No kidding.
And we had a bunch of beer donated from Topa Topa.
Yeah.
And just handing it out to people who were of age, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then I won a raffle item. So
What'd you win?
you get to choose whatever you want. That's how they set it up. So there was still the like fishtail suicidal tendencies board. So that was my selection.
Wow.
Yeah. Just because I have a regular, full size board, and then I kind of have a smaller one. But yeah, I don't have a fishtail. And also I love suicidal tendencies. So
Are you a lucky person? In my head, I've never won anything ever in my life. Have you won things?
no. Yeah, that was honestly like the first time I can think about actually winning something.
Oh, really?
So it was extra special.
Yeah, I feel like there's some people in the world that just always seem to have the luck. They always win the prize. Is that you?
My husband.
Really? Can you think of some times where he's won something?
Oh, he won a double bike once. One of those tandem bikes.
Yeah.
He won a longboard.
How are you anywhere where you can win that?
It's raffle stuff. We were at like events, fundraisers, and he just always wins. And I always bring him with me. I'm like, dude, you're going to win us something tonight. I am not picking the ticket. You are.
And any luck at like in Vegas by chance?
No luck in Vegas. No. Yeah, just
I won
that
a
raffles.
wedding
You won a wedding?
What?
For like on
Didn't I
Bravo or
wedding?
something? What?
on the internet.
What? Explain, please. I don't know what that means to win a wedding.
Well, long ago when I was engaged, I looked on the internet for wedding stuff. I don't even know. But there was this contest to win a free wedding, and I just jokingly applied. I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. As I'm planning like this horrible wedding. No, just kidding. The worst part of a wedding is planning it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it
that
is
was like
awful.
the best thing, was to not have to do anything.
Oh man. Wait, did you have any preference, or they just said, okay, you're gonna get all this stuff?
I had to, there was this long process, like public voted on the couples and things like that. Like, it was
wow.
this
Did you know any of
gnarly
that,
thing.
or all of a sudden you get an email saying you won?
No, it was a whole thing. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
We were like on the internet, like asking every single person we know to vote, and like we have friends in bands, like, please send this out. And they did.
So people actually
said
picked
you
you. That's what you're saying?
Well,
it wasn't just like a random draw.
Ultimately, we were like second in the votes, but the team that was doing it got to choose in the end who won. And so, because it was kind of like a giant advertisement, for the company.
Yeah. And what was it? What company, or like?
Well, a lot of different companies were involved, but there was have you heard of the Smile booth? I don't know. They do like photo booths for weddings and stuff. Our Labor of Love is the name of the photography business, and they were like a huge part of it. The lady who runs One Swed website, a lady who worked for Anthropology, handmade my dress.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
They handmade all the decorations. It was crazy.
What about the venue? Did they pick a local venue, or?
Yeah, they picked this cute little like cafe. Oh, so the thing is, we could only have 30 people there, and we had to get married in Atlanta.
No. Oh, no kidding. Okay, that's a big.
But my husband's from the East Coast. He's from Pennsylvania, and so we've got a ton of friends out there and family. So a lot of them came, and then a few of my friends did come as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding. That's really winning something. I mean, I was talking about maybe like a toy in a raffle or something. You won a wedding.
I haven't won much since then. I think my luck is run out.
It was all on one shot.
You saved a lot of money with that one.
Oh yeah.
No kidding. Yeah. Truth be told, Angela, she planned everything. She I just don't have a brain. I think I'm very creative, but I just don't care enough for certain things. Like some stuff I just don't care. What color the napkin is. I don't care. Fucking pick. You could pick. So, and she liked that. She could pick anything she wanted, but she would get a little, reasonably. So she would get it would just pile on.
Yeah.
And I'd have to try to take a little more initiative than I wanted to. Thankfully, she had some style. If she left it up to me, I would have picked paper plates. Like, I just literally wouldn't have cared. So I don't even know how much it hurts to plan a wedding. So
it's painful.
It is.
What? I'm sure Angela will agree with you. But what is so painful about it?
The details.
Just remembering every little thing. And when you don't have somebody there, like a wedding planner, we did ours all on our own. Some people hire like a wedding planner to like at least guide them through the process.
Right.
So we just had to like figure it out on our own. And
you're talking all the companies, the caterers, and making the calls.
It ended up being like a shit show, actually, because
the wedding or the planning.
The wedding was cool, but like the whole planning and then the venue and the woman that we were working together to plan the wedding at her venue ended up being crazy. She wanted to sue us at the end. She was like, "I'm suing you because you broke my elevator," and she was like blaming us for all this stuff that didn't really. It was like insane. Wow. It was really crazy.
I mean, we'd sit up on the laptop like looking for like a photographer or like certain things, and we would just laugh how these prices these people are trying to charge.
It's ridiculous.
Like the photographer, I mean, it's all expensive and I get it, but I think we were just out of curiosity looking at wedding planners or like the day of sort of manager for like the wedding. I don't know what you call that person. Luckily, a friend did it, but we were looking at people. I think what it was a photography and like wedding planner like team or something. So the person didn't even plan anything. They would just show up on the day and like manage everything, with a clipboard. But it was like a ridiculous amount of money. Like that's like a quarter of the whole wedding. Like, and you're working for like 10 hours. Like you're going to make like $4,000 for 10 hours. I wish I could remember the numbers, but we laughed. Like it was a joke.
Because they know you'll spend it on that special day.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a special day, but you don't need all of that.
No. I'm happy it's over. It was a great night, best night of my life, but I am happy that we don't have to think about invitation. I mean, we still have invitations hanging around. I don't even know what to do with them anymore.
I like turn them into cards.
Yeah. I'm gonna send like 10 to my family, like even though they don't need them at all.
Well, when people send out those Christmas cards every year and they send it to every single person it's like a photo, their family photo, and they send it out, which I love. We get so many from all of our amazing friends. But it's like planning a wedding because you're sending out 130 like Christmas cards.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's how many people you know. And just like anxiety.
You got to wonder, I don't know. We got a bunch of Christmas cards on the, it's cute. It's fun to see what people are up to, people who live far away. So I appreciate it. But I don't know. I think maybe once we have kids, we'll probably do that. But I don't think we're going to send like a couple, like, I'm not going to send my best friend a picture of Angela and I with a Christmas, like a wreath behind us or something.
Yeah.
I don't know that's that interesting. So do you all actually skate?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your stance? Are you goofy or regular?
Regular.
So Mel is regular. I'm also regular. What about you, Kaitlyn?
Regular.
Regular. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've always been proud of that for some reason. I know it's stupid. There was no benefit. I know that. I'm just I kid when I say that. But when I was a kid, I always thought it was cool to be regular.
Well, when you call it goofy, it sounds
right. Yeah,
lame.
It's just like a built-in Are any of you? Do you guys know what Mongo-footed is?
Mm-hmm. I was Mongo-footed. But I transformed myself.
And what is Mongo-foot? What is that when someone says that?
You're basically making a whole extra step in pushing. So it's hard to explain. So your foot that you're pushing off with is supposed to be the one that's like in the back of the board.
Yeah, right.
And so I would put my left foot on the back of the board and push with my right foot, which I wanted in the back of the board. So I would have to push off with my right foot, and then bring the left foot up to the front, and then put the right foot in the back of the board. So it's a whole like extra step.
Wow.
Right. I'm wondering, are either of you two Mongo-footed?
No, my son was like, "You do not do that, Mom."
It's looked down upon. I don't know that it's that important. Are you Mongo-footed?
No, my dad grew up skating, so like I kind of skated a little bit as a kid. So it was just always like, nope, this is how you push and
We know a badass 12-year-old girl who shreds, who
and she's Mongo-footed?
She does, yeah.
I mean, I like I don't think it's a big deal. Maybe there's a benefit to not being Mongo-footed. Maybe it is easier to not have to take that extra step. It's more stable. Like you can't really, like I'm thinking if you're going to drop in like on a quarter pipe, which I'm not very good at, but if you were to do that, being Mongo-footed would make it very hard because you'd be very unstable on that tipping point. You would tip and you would have to turn your body. But other than like that benefit of like it being a little more secure, I don't know that it's really that embarrassing. Some people put a lot of weight on people being Mongo-footed, and I don't really care.
We have a friend
honestly.
who gets mad at herself for it.
Herself?
Yeah.
Well, you're saying, Alison, that you transformed yourself. Was it peer pressure? Was it knowing that there's a benefit to not being Mongo-footed?
Well, that was just naturally how I did it. I probably skated like once or twice in my life when I was really young.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
But it was very short. Like I didn't really take it anywhere. And that's just naturally what I did with my feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my husband saw me doing it, he's like, no, you're
Or does he skateboard or
he does.
he knows
He's
about
skated for a long time. And he really inspired me to start skating as well. But yeah, he told me, he's like, you should correct this as soon as possible because it's just going to
That's probably good advice. I mean, if you're going to correct it sooner than later is probably, because otherwise you just get cemented into that stance.
Yeah. And I was surprised because I never thought I could because I was very comfortable with that Mongo pushing. And then as soon as I started practicing, it just got, and now I don't even remember how to do it. I'm like, how did I do that?
Well, it's tough because it really feels, I can sympathize with someone who's Mongo-footed. Because I imagine trying to write with my left hand or something, right? They tell you, if, like, it's very hard to write with my left hand because I'm right-handed. And I can imagine that feeling on a skateboard. If you're pushing Mongo-foot, it's because that's what feels right. Mm-hmm. So when you try to push the way it should be, quote unquote, it just feels wrong, to do it the correct way. So I can sympathize with that feeling. It must feel, but what I can't understand is, so you were Mongo-footed, so you know what it feels like. You would push Mongo and then then put both feet on the board. So I guess now that you're not Mongo-footed and you push with your back foot, does that part still feel uncomfortable? The pushing part until you're on your board?
No,
it feels normal now.
Yeah, it feels fine now.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Successful transformation.
We still love you, even if you never did it.
Yeah, because the way you said it, I was like, oh, did somebody like embarrass you or something?
Yes,
like,
it was
what the hell? Yeah, you'll see kids at the skate park a lot pushing Mongo-footed, but to me, I just don't care. I just don't have that. As I'm getting older, I just don't have that capacity to care about like stuff like that. I don't know how you guys feel. If you can understand that. So this group, what do you see happening with the group? Do you just see it growing? Do you have any goals in mind?
The thing that always comes to me, and it's kind of been there since the beginning, is that I would love to work in schools with school groups to help teach. And I can't decide if we keep it strictly to girls.
Oh, I've been wondering about that actually.
Yeah. I've had that struggle also since the beginning. Because we want to be inclusive,
right?
But also create a safe space for people who don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
At the parks and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Being at the parks because I'm an adult man and sometimes I feel uncomfortable at a skate park. Even though I'm decent, I can ride around and do a couple tricks. So I mean, even with those circumstances, I feel sort of uncomfortable sometimes. So I can imagine what a child feels like who isn't, doesn't know how to do much yet, is learning how to ride and all of a sudden they're in the way of this like big, huge guy that's going, 20 miles an hour. So you do a potluck every month, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it one meetup a month, or do you guys try to do it every weekend?
We have 3 total. So 2 skate park meetups, and then one co-ed potluck, like more just like a fun gathering together, and also skating. And
so it's girls on board, right? Mm-hmm. So what's the motivation to focus on the girl aspect, where you want to get, or I'll just let you answer. Yeah, what's the inspiration or the motivation to make it for it to begin as a girl group rather than just a skate group?
Well, like I said, like I personally have been super conflicted. Mm-hmm. I'm surrounded by guys. I don't have anyone in I have these amazing women, but I'm just saying, like, within my family, I'm the only female. So I'm used to being around dudes and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like there's just some sort of like power and like strength that happens when women come together. And we just like are so supportive of each other and encouraging, and just like to create kind of our own presence within like a sport that is less welcoming to women.
Yeah. And that wasn't like a judgment or critique on my part. I was just curious. I think it's great. Yeah. What do you think, Mel? What do you think are the benefits to establishing a group like this, where it's really, it seems like there are boys who are allowed to come sometimes, like the meetups. But what are the benefits that you see for having like a girl group where girls can feel, like they have a place to go?
I think there's a lot of benefits to it. I think just with a lot of things that are, very centered on boys or men, to have sort of, I don't know what to call it. I guess just like sort of a way for women to have access or, to the same opportunities, even if it is a recreational sport. Like I grew up skating just because, my dad used to skate and, surfing and snowboarding. But maybe other girls have always wanted to do it and they don't really have that, or, and then at the same time they have, kind of 2 things going against them. 'Cause, if they do go to the skate park and they're just a girl by themselves, it's all these dudes, and it's definitely not comfortable. And I think it takes it would take a very strong-willed person to go and do that.
Right.
And I think the goal is just to make it easier,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits to that, just because, I just think it is a, very male dominated sport. I date a skater. He lives in a skater house. There's dudes there all the time.
Yeah.
And there's, so many male pro skateboarders, and it's awesome. We live in a time where there's a lot more females, being noticed and, becoming pro. And we get to see that more. Because it just tells other girls like, yeah, like you can do it too. Like this isn't just like something for dudes that you have to be excluded from.
Yeah. What do you think, Alison? What are some benefits or some reasons why a group like this is valuable?
I'm just going to talk about like our first meetup we had. Like Kaitlyn had told me that she wanted to start this like real group. And I was like, okay, I'll meet you there. She's like, will you come? We just want some people to come.
Please come.
And we had already discussed like our passion for wanting to start. And my passion started when my husband was like, we're building a ramp in our yard. And I was kind of like, this was before I had ever skated. I was like, I don't know if I really wanted to buy a ramp and put a ramp in our yard. There's no room, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, we ended up getting a ramp. And, I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to start skating, now's the best time. I have my own private space and I can learn there. And then I ran into Kaitlyn like shortly after that. And she's like, we need to start skating together. She's like, I'm so inspired. We should just do it together. I'm like, really? I want to too. Can we do it together?
It was all happening.
And I couldn't believe she said those words to me. Like, I want to skate too.
So it sort of just lined up. You're saying you had this interest sort of bubbling and you did too. And all of a sudden it just
kind of happened at the same time. And I mean, I was just like with my sons and my husband skating, like trying to skate with them and going to the park, and same thing, sitting on the sidelines, just like wishing that I could go in there, and like being intimidated, and there's no girls around, and like, not that if there was a strange girl there that I would feel comfortable, but like, just anyway, I met the girls we went to Camarillo the first time. That was our first meetup. And like, I could barely even push around. Like, I was so shaky pushing around, but we were there together as a group, and there was just girls pushing around on the side.
And that was the first meetup, you said, the Camarillo.
Our first meetup, yeah. And we weren't even like rolling in. We were just like on the sidelines, helping each other stand on the board. And Kaitlyn was there like holding people's hands, like, here, let me help you. And she's just like the sweetest thing ever. Like, you walk into the group and you're like instantly welcomed, and like there's someone there like wanting to help you and just like push you along the way, which is what you need, like when you don't know what you're doing and you're like surrounded by, you go to a skate park and you're surrounded by men and they're all just kind of like, what are you doing there?
It's very like I said, I feel intimidated still, even though like I feel like I'm in the community and have a lot of like I would say friends. I know a lot of people like when I go to Westlake. Have you guys been to Westlake skate park?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Oh, I lived down the street. I moved out here a year ago. I lived in Thousand Oaks like my whole life, and they built that 4 years ago, something.
By the Y, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Loved that skate park. And what was so awesome is that they built the skate park first. It's a whole Y now. Like, there's like a playground, there's like a dog park, I think, a soccer field, indoor pool, I think like weights in there. I don't know, but all this stuff at the Y. But the skate park was first.
Wow.
So it was just like leveled. Other than the skate park for like 2 or 3 years. They just finished it maybe like last year or something. I loved that skate park. So even with all that on my side, having home turf, friends, the ability, you show up, I go alone a lot. And all of a sudden you see a group of guys or whatever that are, skating fast, closed off, not that welcoming, because I need a hand. Somebody needs to like come and say hi to me for me to feel welcome. I don't, a lot of times they don't even look at you. And like in my head, I feel like rejected and all this stuff, right? Even though I'm overthinking it, I know that, but that's the feeling. So I think it's
the vibe.
Yeah, that's the vibe. That's the fucking vibe.
Yes.
But I like you said something, Mel, that I really liked. Something like this, anyways. That a group like this is really great because there might be some girls that otherwise wouldn't skate, wouldn't try it if there wasn't a group like this. So maybe they're interested, maybe they don't even know they're interested, but maybe it's not even an option, when it's not even an option, how are they going to be interested?
Exactly.
So all of a sudden you're presenting this option to girls, in particular, because, the boys don't need to be given this option. That it's, we just feel like we can, this is what it's for us, that's how a lot of boys probably feel. So girls, of course, and especially if their mom or dad takes them to the skate park and all they see are boys, how are they going to feel? So I think that's a really awesome thing that it's, that you do by targeting girls in particular. Because, nowadays the whole gender stuff, we're really trying to get to a place where we're people and not boys and girls. But we're in a weird transition, phase, a long transition phase in this gender equality, paradigm where we're not there yet. We aren't just all people yet, even though we want to be. So I think it's good, in my opinion, that you're starting a group and have a group that targets girls in particular, because otherwise they may not have that option. I think it's awesome. I was really intimidated by you guys, actually. I'm like, I should reach out. I want to talk to them, but they're so cool. Like they have t-shirts. No, I think what you guys are doing is really, really, really cool. I back it 100%.
Thank you.
I've never done this before, but I thought this would be sort of fun. I have a bowl there, and I typed up some questions, insults. So some of them might be insulting. They might be bad questions. They might be good questions. They might be statements. But our job will be to just simply react to it.
I love it.
So you can talk amongst each other. But I really think this. However you want to do it. I'll go first. I'll grab a couple. Since I'm far away. Okay, so let's see. It says, I think girls are just as good at... I typed this up and I can't even read it. I think girls are just as good as boys at skateboarding. Okay, if somebody said that, I wouldn't be insulted. I would be happy they said that. What do you guys think? If someone said that, does that sort of imply something, or is that...
You're making an assumption.
Yeah, tell me what you think.
I mean, that's a very big generalization. You can't really say that. You know,
that's true.
It can't be factual, like unless you're referring to a specific boy and specific girl. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I appreciate it.
Yeah, see that's why. Yes, I knew there was some underlying assumption in there. I just didn't know what. But please tear up the question. You know, you have a liberty to call the person who wrote it stupid, which was me. I did it on purpose, though. So you may, Allison, if you will please pick one of those, and you can read it to us.
Let's see. Are boys better at skateboarding than girls?
Oh. Yeah, somebody asked you that. What would you say?
No.
Good.
All the same reason.
Yeah, I would say, you don't know that because it just depends on how passionate someone is. If they're going to keep going, then you never know like what their abilities could reach. And I don't know. I've seen like videos of 5-year-old girls just like owning it. You're just like, how is that even possible? Like she's just like a little magician.
Yeah, there's a couple young girls out there right now. I think she's a Brazilian girl. This little girl with butterfly wings. I don't know if you've seen her.
I think I have.
She is so good. Like I don't know if there's a couple of them, so I'm getting them confused. But lately, I've seen a couple of them, not in person, but through video at the barracks. Like there's like a 9 stair. Like this little girl's like heel flipping it, crooking down, like insane stuff. Like so yes, I mean, are boys better than girls at skateboarding? We don't know, but the answer probably is no. I mean, who knows? We don't know yet. Girls are just getting into it finally. You know,
but it's like asking if boys are smarter than girls or vice versa. When it comes down to that, there's just I don't know, just so many gender assumptions. I mean, I don't even like the whole idea that women and men's brains are different. It's like, really? I mean, maybe there are very small differences.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, I like that. That I purposefully tried to write questions. Some of them are I hope good questions, but some of them are questions that like make assumptions and generalize. Because it's important. That's one of the hardest things is to find that those generalizations and assumptions. Sometimes we just take questions at face value, but it's like, wait, why are we even asking this question? That assumes X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So thank you for being you gave us a hard no, and I appreciate that. Kaitlyn, will you be insulted for us, for our entertainment?
Mango. Mango-footed skaters suck. I can say that is definitely not true, based on...
I've seen a few, actually, men, too.
Charlotte.
That Mongo foot. So, men and women that Mongo foot, and they rip.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you approach that? So, if somebody said that to you, I guess it would depend on if it's like a little boy or a man. How do you approach that question? Like something that's like insulting like that? Well,
if somebody said it?
Yeah. If someone said, Mongo-footed skaters suck. How do you approach something like that?
I would...
why? Ask why?
I like that.
Show them a video of somebody that's ripping.
Yeah, like, does this guy suck? And, yeah, that's a good question. I like say why. See how thoughtful their answer is, because more than likely they're probably not going to have a good answer for why they suck. Mel.
I don't think you're good at skateboarding.
I do.
I'd be like, so what? I don't know. That's what I would say.
I think it's It just matters really how much fun you're having.
Yeah.
100%. That's it. Took. I don't know that I was ever like a jerk at the skate park. I don't think I was. I've always had sort of like a gentle demeanor. But I'll say it anyways. It took me a long time to get to that, to be able to say, like you said, so, like that was my answer for some of those questions. Like somebody says something like that, like you suck. So, like, what are they going to say after that? Like, so, even if it's not true, it's like, what are you going to debate the person? Like, no,
Right.
I really don't suck because, I do this, I do that. No.
I feel like I would respond like, I'm still learning. Do you remember when you were learning and you sucked?
Everyone starts at
Because
the
you
bottom.
did at some point.
You don't just like step on a board and then you're magically like dropping it.
Right.
Like you start at the bottom.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or I'd ask them how long they've been skating, and then I'd tell them how long I've been skating.
Yeah.
So just back it with some evidence.
Hopefully nobody other than a child is saying that to you, saying that you suck. I hope an adult is not saying that to you.
They might say it with their eyes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
They're not an adult yet.
Yeah, I try very hard not to judge. Like what you said, Allison. I actually love when someone's not that good and they're having a lot of fun. I love that. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to be. I mean, what is good even? It's like, does it mean you can do tricks? Does it mean you can ride around fast? Like, what does it even mean? First of all, is it even a good question? But when they're having fun and they don't care what people think, I love that. I love seeing 45-year-old dads showing up with their son, with all the gear on, and or actually sometimes those guys rip though. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, so they often rip rather than don't rip. But it makes me feel good. You see people having fun, it makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. And I bet a lot of you, maybe you guys feel that way at the meetups too. You just see these kids having fun, just getting started. Mm-hmm. Maybe you guys are just getting started. You see the progress, like that's like one of the best feelings. All of a sudden, you're doing something you couldn't do before. Mm-hmm. I love that. I hope we can.
That's the best feeling when you're able to get over something that you felt like was completely terrifying.
Totally. I mean, now I drop in.
You
at,
drop in?
Pacific and stuff like that, and I never thought I'd be able to do that. I'd look at that and be like, no, not gonna happen.
Or like I'm thinking. Did you say Pacific? What are you talking about?
Oh, that's the skate park over.
Is it by the mall?
Lowe's. Yeah.
Oh, right. That's very close. That's where I skate all the time because this is Telegraph. You turn left here.
Right,
it's
go
just
down
right
Mills.
here.
Yeah.
That park, I appreciate that park so much because I was going. Do you guys know the park down by the orchards?
Hobart.
Hobart,
yeah.
Yeah, I've roller skated there.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I definitely know what you mean. I don't think I would try to skateboard there.
I mean, that park's cool, but I didn't know about this park over here. I've only been here for a year. I didn't know that there was this park. I could walk to this one. Mm-hmm. I was driving maybe it's realistically a 10-minute drive. Mm-hmm. You would think 5 minutes, but realistically from door to park, it's like 10 minutes. I liked it a lot. But this park over here at the mall, there's like practically nothing there, but I'm so over complaining about like what I have now. Like, I mean, there's a skate park practically in my backyard. Great. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a curb. Cool.
Yeah.
People complain. I wouldn't drive out to it. If I lived in Westside, I'm not going to drive out to that. But since it's like in my backyard practically, I appreciate it a lot. I like that park a lot. Okay. Let's see what I got. Let me insult myself. Do you ever get scared when you're on a skateboard? All the time. I mean, I'm like pretty good. Pretty good as in I've been doing it since like 5th grade. I can like manual, like kick, in my head, I can like, keep up with people, I think, if that's important at all. But, I get scared all the time, like dropping in, even though I can drop in on like maybe like a waist high. I can drop in on like a waist high quarter pipe, maybe a little bigger. But that scares me still, that like moment of weightlessness, or I don't know what it is when you're dropping in, but that weird lack of control you have. So the answer is yes. I'm often very scared on my skateboard, even though I've been doing it for over 10 years. What about you guys? Are you ever scared on a skateboard?
Yes, absolutely.
During in what situations?
At parks. That's like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think just trying new things at parks and rolling in on stuff. There's no dropping in yet, but just the speed.
It
The
took me
speed.
years to drop in.
Getting used to the speed is probably my biggest fear. Like when I'm going too fast and then start wobbling, get the speed wobbles. And,
That's the worst, speed wobbles. I don't think I've eaten it too hard doing that, but that's like when you just don't have control. That is like so terrifying. What about you, Kaitlyn? Are you ever afraid on a skateboard?
Yes.
In what situations?
Similar to what Alison was saying. Mostly, I don't know. I feel like I like to see somebody else do it first, and then I know that it's possible.
You see what it looks like,
yes, and then I feel a lot better about doing it. But there's been a few times where I haven't had that opportunity, and it's terrifying. But it is scary.
You said you're talking about Pacific. You drop in at Pacific.
Yeah.
Where do you mean? Do you mean the bowl or do you mean like the perimeter?
The perimeter. I go into the bank, so that's technically rolling in. I guess. Okay. Well, I said drop in.
Or no. I was like because like dropping in that bowl is so scary.
Yeah.
It's like you drop in.
I can't skate a bowl.
Like you have to be really good to rip that bowl. Like, and I can't. I can drop in, ride up a little bit, and that's it. Like it's so tiny. By the time you drop in, you're already like on the other side. So when you said you could drop in, I'm like, damn.
No, definitely not that cool. Yeah.
Stop.
That's pretty cool. That's like, that park's kind of sketchy because
It is a little sketchy.
it's, it's so steep.
Yeah,
like
it
there's
is very steep.
And maybe you know this already, never skate it when it's wet. It is so slippery, like dangerously slippery, where you have zero control. Like you might think you're good, like, because I've done that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm careful. I have good balance. When you slip, you hydroplane.
Not a skateboard.
no.
That's literally what it is. And I don't care how good you are, you're not going to overcome a hydroplane. You're going to like fall on your ass.
Yeah. Oh God.
Let's do maybe one more round. Alison?
Sure.
I can't remember what I wrote anymore.
Oh, you haven't seen the new Thrasher skate video?
Oh my God.
You must not be a real skater. I fell down while I was skateboarding and I started to cry.
Oh, I was supposed to cut those in half. Address the first one. The first one.
No, I haven't seen the video.
I run into this all the time at the skater house because I follow some like skateboarding groups, like Unity and stuff like that, and like women who skate. But I don't keep up with Thrasher, or I didn't see the new Baker 4. Yeah, I didn't watch.
I'm so embarrassed to say I haven't seen. I'm like skate nut and stuff, and I haven't even seen it. So.
And so I run into that a lot. But I mean, like, I don't know. It's like not like a spoken thing. It's just definitely like a vibe. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Skateboarding is so big. There are so many videos and companies and brands, and you can't keep up. I can't imagine anybody would ever tell me that. And if they did, I just love that response. Like, so? Like now what? Like, yeah, I haven't seen it. Now what? And I hope I'm that brave. I hope I'm brave enough to respond that way. If people say that to me. One more from you, Kaitlyn, and then one more from you, Mel, after that.
Your board setup is terrible. You don't want to be seen at the skate park with that thing.
I was on one when I wrote that, I guess.
I must admit that my board setup is not very accurate either, because I bought it from Craigslist. But I'm not embarrassed by it. But I feel like if somebody said that to me, I would just be like, what the fuck?
Like, who are you?
Like, I don't know. Yeah. You don't always see me at a skate park with that thing. I mean, I totally get that there's like Walmart boards and things like that are unsafe.
Yeah,
There are
it's like a
boards
safety
that are
issue.
unsafe. But if this person's like insulting me because of my grip tape or my trucks that might be a little bit too small or whatever, like that's just a big asshole.
I would just say, like, that's the way I like it. So whatever,
It's like, yeah, I like it. And I'm hoping that these people are theoretical. I hope there aren't actually people like this anymore. I'm presuming maybe there are, but I was just curious because, I mean, especially for girls or women, I wonder, I just wonder, because I don't have the answer, if it is a little tougher for you. Like those, you know, I wonder if people are more inclined to say that to a woman or a girl than to a boy or a man.
I think it depends on, I can't imagine somebody writing up to me at a park and saying that. I think it'd have to be a very specific situation. Most of the time, I feel like the judgment is more like annoyance that we're getting in their line, or, you know,
not giving
or even
room.
that we're there to begin with. Like, you know, so then they get like too close to us, or, you know, like,
really? You've had
cut you off, or like, I don't know, like if we're, I don't know what you call that. Is it a bull and Camarillo, that like really big wide one?
Yeah.
A lot of times we're kind of just going back and forth in there for a while because we're practicing, and people just like go in there.
Really?
And, like,
and
stuff.
It sounds like sometimes it feels a little aggressive.
Yeah.
Like it's not that they're just like taking their turn. You feel like it's sort of, I guess aggressive. Like you felt like that before?
Yeah,
just
definitely.
passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, it's
exactly.
just like, you know, they're trying to like make a statement of like, this isn't like my space, or it's my turn.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, I guess I get like everyone needs their turn, but
well, even like when
know.
you're waiting and like you're clearly waiting, like, you know, everyone waits and you see that someone's waiting like across the way, but they don't let you go. They're like, just going to keep going. You know?
They can ride faster.
Like act like they don't see you kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's tough because they're, like I said, I've experienced that before. Like, and I like to think that I can like hold my own, like I've been around a while, but like, I hate when that happens. Like sometimes in my experience, it's been usually like teenagers who don't really know, like they don't have the awareness to think like, oh, I'm taking up all the space and people don't have a way in. Like, you know, I'll stand there waiting for like a certain obstacle or something, but there's this like 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid zooming around the whole park. So you step your foot down and, you know, take your turn. Oh, but here he is. He's coming up already. He's going so fast. Like and then those kind of kids, or men, sometimes people will have the nerve to act like you're in their way. It's like, no, dude, I've been waiting for 5 minutes. Like you're not giving me a turn. Like, so there's been times where, I've purposefully not gotten their way, but took my turn. So yeah, I got in their way. But it's like, dude, you did 10 laps just now and I'm still waiting. Like this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get. And someone's going to like clock you for this. You know, like I'm nice. I'm not going to like even confront you about it, but there's going to be some other kid who doesn't like it. They're going to think it's their space and you're going to get punched in the face. It's been at that level sometimes. That's just unawareness on their part.
Or lack of care.
They might not even care. Yeah. And I'm thinking of one person in particular who was doing that to me, who I was cool with actually. After that, I was like, I stopped saying hi to him. I then became passive aggressive towards him. Like, I'm going to pretend you're not here because you're like not cool right now. Like you are not cool. And I think people started treating him like that. So he kind of came around. He's like, shit, maybe I'm being a jerk because no one's talking to me anymore.
I wish that there was a conversation. I wish that there was like an open, you know, space to communicate that.
Right? Don't you wish you could just roll up and be like, hey dude, you know, like I see you're like really good, but you know, you're kind of not giving me a turn. Like you're sort of just taking up the space. Like wouldn't it just be nice to be able to say that to some people sometimes?
And get like an okay reaction, not just like a
yeah. Like maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't even know they're doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I agree. With the whole conversation, it just doesn't seem like dudes interact that way, especially dudes in a subculture. So it's, I don't know. It's like,
do you think girls are more readily they give turns more readily? Do you think girls are more aware of like people each having a turn, or is it just a person problem where, you know, anybody can be selfish at the skate park? I mean, I see more men just because that's mostly who's there, but I don't know. I wonder what girl.
I think at least as far as our group goes, we don't have like a crap ton, you know, like at the park trying to like get in there, but we definitely like take turns. The one thing I can think of is I went to this event at the barracks. Like,
oh yes, I wanted to ask you about that. Yes, yeah.
And I was like super nervous to try this thing, but there are 2 girls there, like utilizing the ramp, and they like motioned for me to go.
Nice.
But I was so nervous that I was like, oh, I'm okay. But I really appreciated the fact that they did that. They opened up the space for me to.
Yeah, it's good to be a person like that. I try to do that for kids. I'll see kids on the sideline because I was a kid like that when I first started. I would see these older guys, ripping up the park, and I was afraid to get out there, like just literally afraid. Like I get dropped off at the skate park and stand on the side for 3 hours and then get picked up and not even skate.
That's my son. He cried, he sobbed. He was so mad at himself for not having the, I don't know what you call it, nerve to actually go into a park because there were a couple people there.
Yeah. So I try to make an effort now, even to make a joke with someone, say a kid, even an adult. I don't care who it is. Like, hey, get out there. Where's your skateboard? And then just to be that person. Sometimes it just takes a little encouragement or at least, they know someone has their back. Just let them know you're there. Like, hey, dude, like I'm cool. Like, you can talk to me. You don't say that, but like I like to try to behave that way where, because it's a bummer when kids feel like they can't get out there. They feel like because they're not as good as the people there that they don't have the right to their turn. So even when there's a ripper, like a shredder there, I would hope that person realizes that it's other people's space too, regardless of how good they are. It's not about talent.
Because no matter what, it's a community. And like, I don't know. I think just everything else, as far as like, the skaters who, don't seem to notice, I don't know, that like they need to share the space. That's kind of like all ego based. So, it'd kind of be cool just to have something more of a community like aspect.
Something that the group Skate Like a Girl does, and I learned this at the barracks because there were a couple people that run the...
Well, just real quick, what was it? It looked like it was like sort of like it looked like women were talking. Were they addressing like the crowd or?
There was a panel of women skateboarders and it was a free skate as well, but then they showed what is it called, Pushing Borders, I think maybe is what the name of the documentary
was. I thought there was a documentary involved,
and that one was focused on Vanessa Torres, and she was actually one of the panelists there.
That's so rad.
She's amazing. And so the panel was like afterwards, we split up into groups, and you got to choose kind of who you wanted to talk with and stuff. And we chose Ashley from Skate Like a Girl, who runs the Bay Area like one. And I don't know, it was all about community, about building community, about what we can do to be more inclusive. It was amazing. It was really, really cool.
That looked really sick. I saw the post on your page. I hadn't even heard of it. I'm just, there's so much going on. I just like miss everything. That was really cool. I like that the barracks is, and just skateboarding in general is embracing, women like in this field, let's call it. Because why not? What the hell?
Yeah.
First of all, it's stupid to exclude women because, on an economic level, that's half the population not buying skateboards.
Right.
You might as well, and I think maybe it's a fiction. Maybe there really aren't people that try to keep women out. But I'm happy that it's becoming, or you think so? Because I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I do. I feel like, I do.
What do you think? You're thinking something. What makes you say that?
I'm trying to I feel like these groups wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be popping up all over the place. There wouldn't be things like the barracks event. And then there's this other one. I forget what it's called, but it happened in Europe this past year to talk about inclusivity within the community. That was like a huge thing. I wish I could remember the name of it. I don't think these things would be here.
Right.
If there wasn't a need for it.
You're saying it's sort of a symptom of the problem. The fact that these girl groups have to pop up and tells us that there's a problem.
Yeah.
Huh.
Whether it's, deliberate or not,
Right. That's a good point.
Because I feel like a bunch of sexism is like deeply embedded into how we're programmed, just as kids and going through like school and growing up and culture and
everything. Yeah.
Mass media and all this stuff. So I think a lot of it is probably unconscious, but I think it's still important to bring to light because
there needs to be representation.
even if it's not like something that's spoken, like, you know, the vibe that we get when we go to the parks is like, why does that vibe exist? Why do I got to feel this way when I'm just trying to skate? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Machoism. It's in the surf community too.
Totally.
It's just like, I mean, I grew up surfing and it's like, I'm kind of used to the people cutting you off and not making room and just like, you know.
You know, that's really annoying because I would bet that some of these people don't really know they're doing it, like in the sense where it's like, that's not a big deal what I just did. Where if they did to a guy, they might say, oh, you know, I'm kind of stepping on so-and-so's toes. But when it's a girl or a woman, it's like, you know, what do they care? You know, what do I care?
Yeah.
And not that they're verbalizing that, but I wonder if maybe that's the feeling. Like it's a bigger deal when you cut off a guy than it is when you cut off a girl. And I can't say from experience. I don't know that I've seen any of this. I just hypothesize. You know, you guys can tell me. You're seem to making it clear that you have these feelings when you're at skate parks or I don't know, skate settings. But I'm happy you guys have this group. I think that people are going to find themselves on they're going to find themselves on the wrong end of the deal if they don't embrace you, because I think you're already successful. I don't know. It's cool. I love it. Yeah. I think go with the girl thing. You know, it's cool that you're including boys too. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have certain events or have sort of that empowerment, that woman and female empowerment sort of perspective where, you know, you really are trying to carve out a space for girls to get through the door, because once they're through the door, then they can go to the barracks, and they can go to the skate park and feel safe on their own, because, you know, they're in a community and they know, I don't know. I think it just supports, women in general, and you guys should feel just how guys feel at the skate parks. So I will ask you, Kaitlyn, you can represent the group here. So when I ask you this question, you can answer for your group. And it's a simple question. I like to end it this way. Who the hell are you?
Me personally?
The group.
No.
Who the hell are you?
Well, I guess, you know, at the basic is we're just women supporting women through skateboarding and empowerment. But I personally don't want to close it off to just women. I want to open up to non-cis people and queer people as well, because I think that they also have similar feelings as us as cis women. But that's something that we're also discussing through in our group. But yeah, we're just women who want to support and share the stoke. I don't know.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you, Alison, Kaitlyn, Mel. Took me an hour to for sure remember your names. I hope that I can go to the next meetup.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.